Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Duology Theater was made possible by producer Nolan Matten. Thank you, Nolan. It was also made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Welcome to Duology Theater.
Yeah, didn't we already had a thing that said that.
Yeah. So what? I can still welcome them.
Well, now you've welcomed them twice, and it's weird.
Yeah, I don't think we introduce ourselves in the intro.
Do we?
No, we don't. We
don't.
Which is
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm David Bell.
I'm Tom Ryman.
You know who we are. That's for the records. That's for the.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's for. So like for if this has to be played in court.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
So they can clearly identify who's speaking?
Exactly. Geez, Tom. So we watched The Mask of Zorro this month. It's June, right?
Yes, it
And
is.
if people don't know, this is a show where we go over duologies. Movie series that only have 2 installments.
Yes.
And we talk about them individually and then as a whole.
Yeah.
And so we watched Mask of Zorro, which means that we're going to follow it up with Legend of Zorro.
Yeah.
2005.
2005's The Legend of Zorro. It took 7 years to get a sequel made.
Well, they needed to set up this storyline. They couldn't have this storyline if they did it right away.
That's true, yeah.
That's how movies work.
I'm sure that was the entire reason for it.
Yeah, they were like, they wrote this, in like 99, and they were like, but we have to wait.
We gotta wait. We gotta let this simmer.
Yeah, it's not like we can put makeup on actors to make them look older.
Right, or just not, and just say it's however many years later.
Yeah. This plot is California is joining the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Banderas is still Zorroing around.
Yeah, he's still Zorroing about.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is still married to him, and they have a little kid.
Yeah, the kid's all big now. He's like all weird and huge.
I got real Mummy Tube vibes.
There was definitely some Mummy Returns vibes, even to the point where the kid said, "I can't wait for my dad to kick your ass."
Yes, they stole a few lines.
Yeah.
This is what's their names writing it?
It's Orsi and
Kirkman. Kurtzman. Yeah, that surprised me because that was one of the lines were very like. I liked some of the opening lines. I was like, who wrote this? And I saw it. I was like, oh, that's all right. We'll see. They steal a line straight out of Indiana Jones. Did you notice that?
I didn't. Which one?
They take an exchange and they make it a single person's line. He holds up to Zorro, the Pinkerton holds up his mask and goes, "This belongs in a museum."
Yeah.
And so do you. Which is an exact exchange from
It's Last Crusade.
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
When he's been beat up on the boat.
Yeah, he says it belongs in a museum. He says, so do you.
So do
Throw
you.
him overboard.
Yeah, so like they just straight out stole that line. I was like, huh. Without the exchange. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
It could be an homage. They couldn't have not known that was from Indiana Jones.
No. It's a very saying that something belongs in a museum is like a famous Indiana Jones thing.
What did you think of this movie?
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
I agree. It didn't feel like it was made in 2005, which is a compliment.
It's the same director as the first one, and as I was hoping, I think as we both were at the end of the last episode, It's mostly practical. There's very little digital effects in this.
It's stunts. Like at the very beginning when Zorro comes out, I like how the public treats it like a crowd's, like a stunt show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, maybe we'll get Zorro today.
Yeah, maybe Zorro's going to show up.
To the point that if there wasn't crime, if I was Zorro, I would just start hiring some guys.
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, the people love it.
Yeah. Here, go down there and snatch a purse or something so I can kick the shit out of you.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you $20, man. Come on, man. I'm not making anything off of this.
Yeah, I don't get anything out of this exchange.
Yeah, it's all the train stuff. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think it struggled with the idea of where do we go from here as a sequel.
Yeah. The plot was kind of murky. They clearly, I mean, in the time between The Mask of Zorro, which was Catherine Zeta-Jones's breakout movie, and this movie, she had been at least nominated for an Oscar.
Mm-hmm. I like that they gave her stuff to do.
Yeah, she's a big star, so they had to find a way to. They wanted to find a way to include her more, which is cool. But it ended up, I wish they would have thought harder about how, because it's like she gets blackmailed by the Pinkertons into actually divorcing Antonio Banderas.
It is a very strange plot.
Yeah,
because you have to wonder, like, why didn't she just tell him what was happening?
Right.
What basically the plot is that they get into a fight, and it's a very convincing fight. I like the fight, but it's a very movie fight. It feels like what they do with this character, or with this type of character, the adventurers. It's the Uncharted plot too. Like it's like, you said no more adventures. And like, but one more. I got to do this adventure. Like he can't quit. She wants him to quit for his family.
Mm-hmm.
They exchange some words. He runs out.
She does say something that annoyed me. She's like, "What happened to the man? You're not the man I married." I'm like, "Yes, he is."
Yeah, he said some fucked up shit too. I think they both said some nasty shit, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, he definitely does. Not so much in that scene, but definitely later at the party when he's drunk, he says some fucked up shit to her.
Yeah, and so he goes and plays jacuzzi poker, which
just sure. Soaking in milky bathwater with 3 other naked dudes.
Yeah, and very correctly was like, I don't know about this. And basically is like, if this is my other option, I'm going to go beg to have her back. And right then a messenger comes in and he's like, oh, message for you. And it's a fucking divorce. And what we see before this is her getting ambushed by 2 guys.
By 2 guys. And she wails on them with a shovel for a bit.
Yeah. This is both a good and a bad thing about this movie. Everybody can fight.
We already knew she could fight.
No, but everybody. Yeah, no, she's a bad example of what I'm saying. Everybody can fight otherwise. The farmers can fight. The priest can fight. Everybody can fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And it's fine. Like, it's not a complaint because that means more fights. But when like that farmer's like blasting out of his door, and then his wife with the baby goes into the barn and she starts wailing on dudes with like a pitchfork, and it was like, oh fuck yeah,
yeah, fucking stab his ass,
Sweet.
Fuck that dude.
And then the priest starts like karate chopping people or whatever he does, and I was like, all right. But yeah, he gets. I kind of wanted the rest of this movie to be just like Marriage Story with Zorro. Mm-hmm. Of just like this really nasty divorce, but with Zorro.
Just a real bitter divorce.
Yeah. But instead it turns out that they were Pinkertons that ambushed her, and they say, they found out he was Zorro earlier, and they're like, we're going to tell everybody he's Zorro or his enemies if you don't do this mission. Yeah. And this mission is you have to marry or get engaged with this guy who we think is evil. If she had just gone to him, or if the Pinkertons, I guess that's the point, is like it's almost a comment on America, how they're like, they do it in the most paranoid, dickheaded way. But I feel like if they just went to Zorro, or if she went to him, they would have helped. They would have been like, oh yeah, I'll go in there, I'll slashy, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't they? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a very strange plot.
Yeah, instead she divorces him and then keeps it up because she doesn't want to Well, here's my assumption is I think they wanted to do the plot reset. They wanted a romantic subplot, but they knew they couldn't do it if they were still together. And they were like, well, he's not going to cheat on her. So let's just reset their relationship. And we worked it into the plot. And it's like, all right, this is very weird.
Yeah,
She's a spy, while Zorro is just getting shit-faced.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, causing a real scene. I liked the dance scene. I liked it was fun that they're like fighting but also trying to dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. The very instant obvious villain in this, which whatever.
Yeah, it's Rufus Sewell, who once again is cheating to joust somebody.
Wait, when else did he do that?
A Knight's Tale. He's the bad guy in A Knight's Tale.
Oh, that's great. That polo scene was where the movie kind of lost me.
Right.
I was like, what is happening?
What's happening here?
Yeah. Well, it's just him and his fucking bodyguard mustache Billy Corgan.
That fucking guy with oh my God.
Yeah.
He has a weird pointed head, and he's got this stupid knife that he keeps whipping out.
Yes.
And then the end of the movie, he whips out like a flail, and I'm like, boy, this guy just has a whole arsenal of dickhead weapons.
Yeah, this guy feels like just a real annoying guy. You know, like whenever a henchman takes out a creative weapon, you think, well, there's an annoying nerd.
Yeah. He has a bunch of like swords on his wall. Like a real,
yeah,
like a real
100%.
dipshit.
Oh, yeah. Probably has a YouTube series about SJWs.
Yeah. This guy was a real troll.
Yeah.
I'm glad he exploded.
He goes, this is big praise for the movie. More than one person detonates in this movie.
Several people explode.
Like 5.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Not simply caught in an explosion, like not caught in an exploding building.
No.
Like the people themselves explode.
The first time is he has his like. I also got. Did you get Wild Wild West vibes?
Yeah, that
railroad,
the
secret weapons.
A little bit of Lone Ranger vibes.
Yeah,
which didn't come out till later, but was written by some of the same people.
Right.
Yeah, their logo was real stupid.
Yeah.
Like when the Padre pulls out his like ancient tome and shows us a drawing of it from like 1,000 years ago, I was like, get the fuck out of my face. There's no way.
No.
They made that modern ass logo.
No. That was an intern. Oh my God. Yeah, they're selling nitroglycerin to the giving it to the Confederate.
Giving it to the Confederate Army to.
Yeah.
Because they're basically the League of Shadows.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, America will be too powerful and it must turn its power on itself. We're going to do it with all this nitroglycerin we've extracted from soap.
Right. It's very funny. I don't mean to get deep, like social commentary on you, but I realized something watching this was when they have their like League of Shadows meetings and he's like, we're going to win. Us. And whenever a movie does that, where like someone draws up a new map of the United States, I can't help but to think like, well, what's the difference? The bad guys got like won anyway. Yeah. Like it's all bad. They're all bad guys. They're all bad people. We didn't do good things.
Yeah.
So it was just like, yeah, I guess, I don't know, man. He's explained the nitroglycerin and one old man is like, this is fucked up. I'm out. I'll show myself out.
Yeah. He harumps his way out.
Yeah, and then he turns around and he's like, care to see a demonstration? And like gently tosses the vial at the guy. And he like looks down as it falls. His expression, as quick as it is unforgettable. And then this old, like, he's got like what do they call it? Those
huge
like
walrus mustache and the whiskers.
Yeah, he's like a real proper old man. Just explodes. Just pops.
Oh, it's so good.
He just explodes him. And that is the first of several people exploding.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Billy Bedlam.
Billy Bedlam explodes.
Yeah, his head explodes.
Yeah, by a priest. A priest like beats him up, and then he gets nitroglycerin, falls on his forehead, and his head explodes.
It's pretty excellent.
Yeah. And then, of course, the best is when the Confederate soldiers are like waiting for the nitroglycerin.
That
and
was
Kevin
so good.
Jones tosses fucking Billy Corgan out with a bottle, and he explodes and explodes them by exploding.
Yeah. It was a real one in the hand, two in the bush situation.
Yeah.
Two birds with one stone. Rather, I mixed up my.
There we go.
Six racists with one guy with a bottle of nitroglycerin in his pants.
Yep. Yes, he had it in his pants. Billy Corgan with his exploding pants.
She shoved it in his ass crack and threw him into a bunch of racists, and they all exploded.
You gotta love it. The first movie killed a man with cascading gold, if you recall.
Yeah, this one
was like, we can do better. We can keep going.
Right, yeah. It's definitely at least at the same caliber.
Yes. Because, then the villain is strapped to the front of a train, and what is great is that the train has filled with nitroglycerin, and it's going to explode, and it's going to crash, but the explosion isn't what kills him. He crashes into a pile of rocks, and I'm pretty sure that's what kills him.
Yeah, and it's great.
It is.
Because it's not a visual effect. They used like a model train with a fucking dummy tied to the front of it.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It might have been a model. It might have been I don't know. Because that explosion was hell of a big.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, you get to see his little dummy get absolutely blasted by this mountain of rocks.
It's pretty great.
It's so fucking good. It's right up. It's right up there with Evil Will Forte getting a ton of gold dropped on his head.
Yes, it's right up there. It's the same like physics, but different.
Yeah.
He gets launched through the rocks instead of the rocks getting launched through him.
He's just strapped to the front of a train.
Yeah, and they do it. He like ties him there.
Yeah,
like he is killing him. It is an act of murder, which I can't blame him for.
Sure, of course.
He was going to kill him and his family.
Yeah, so fuck that guy.
But before all that, she's courting him, it seems, and she, for some reason, isn't telling Zorro.
Yeah, it's real. It doesn't make much sense why she just doesn't tell him what's happening.
Right, and meanwhile, there is an adorable kid who sword fights his teacher, who is not F. Murray Abraham.
It is an actor that I frequently confuse with F. Murray Abraham because they look remarkably similar.
Yeah, it's like evil F. Murray Abraham because he's a real asshole.
More evil F. Murray Abraham.
Yeah, he's also a terrible teacher. If you come home one day after sword fighting a child and losing, you're a bad teacher.
Yeah.
But he's got the Zorro in him, the kid. He's spunky. He hides away in a fucking, what's it called, carriage for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the kid?
The kid was less annoying than the kid in The Mummy Returns, but they're definitely surfing the same sort of vibe.
Yes. I could have done without the kid, but I didn't hate the kid.
Exactly. Yeah, same.
I was actually surprised by how much I tolerated the kid.
He didn't do any of the whoa kind of stuff that like...
He was just shocked. They do the thing where it's like he loves Zorro, he hates his dad, he doesn't realize that they're the same person. He does fun adventures. He gets a little too Anakin Skywalker at the end when he commandeers the horse. I thought it was smart that they got the horse and the kid out of the way.
Yeah.
And then the kid gets himself involved, and it's like, all right. But he doesn't save the day or anything.
Yeah, he hits the train switch, and that was like, okay, yeah, that's a thing the kid can do.
Yeah.
I did genuinely love him in the jailbreak scene.
Like, did he kill a man?
That's what we were wondering when we watched that movie. He shoots these guys in the butt with a slingshot after a very funny exchange between him and Antonio Banderas, where he's like, "Mom's gonna get married. Why are you in jail?"
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
He was like, "Why are you?" He runs out of a bar. The kid like yelling, and he's like, "Why are you in a bar?" And he's like, "Why are you in jail?"
Why are you in jail?
It's a very. I like that scene. They had good chemistry. The kid's not bad.
No, he wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he shoots the guards in the butt with this slingshot, and then one of them comes running after him, and he does that little goon, I forget what you call it, he just gets into a ball on the floor, so the guy trips over him and absolutely detonates his skull on a bench.
I think he's dead.
He might
I think
be dead.
He's dead. He trips. I don't think the kid meant to do that, so I was waiting for everything to come to a stop. Antonio Banderas like, "Oh my God, is that guy dead?" And he's like, "I didn't mean to do it."
It's just fucking blood spraying up out of his head.
They have to bring the kid to therapy because, that man hits his head on the way down real hard.
So fucking hard.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
His first murder.
You've taken your first life. You're well on your way to becoming the next Zorro.
Yeah, that's the passing of the torch. He gets him out. The priest throwing down. He gets shot in the fucking cross.
Yeah, he does.
And the farmer's fighting. A guy gets a red hot poker in the anus.
Yeah, and catches on fire.
Yeah, that guy has a really hard time.
It was a pretty brutal thing that quickly becomes a huge fucking problem.
Yes, it does. And again, it's that woman. She's like, she throws the fuck down.
Yeah, man.
What did you think of Catherine Zeta-Jones' comedy? This isn't an issue with her. It's a writing issue. Is that I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it. Hate it when people... I hate it in movies where people are like sneaking around and they're not going to get caught because the plot... you look at the time code.
Yeah, it has to keep going.
Yeah. But it's like, then why are we doing this? It's just her doing this weird little bit where she kept using a pipe as an excuse. It was fine. She's great. I think we talked about this with the first movie, is that in the first movie, the character's getting way little to do, and she rocks it.
Yeah.
And this one, she's given some comedic bits that I would say are not great, and she does a good job with it.
Yeah, as well as she can.
Yeah, when she coughs,
yeah,
that was a great undignified cough.
Yeah. She's really making a fool out of herself.
Yeah, she delivered the only funny line, I thought, which was, let's see, I wrote it down. When he asks her to marry her, and she says, "It's a definite maybe." And that line isn't that great, but she delivers it in a way that made me laugh. Mm-hmm. The polo, that whole part. It felt like they had a 20 minutes to fill.
Yeah, and the movie's already over 2 hours, so they probably could have cut that polo scene.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
He sees the bad guy on the street. She does the pipe excuse. Mm-hmm. She sees it in Antonio Banderas, and she's like, "Oh, no, I was looking at this hat I really like. Oh, can you buy me this pipe?" So she has to get him to go away, and then she's talking with Antonio Banderas, and he shows up with the pipe, and then he's like, "Why don't we settle this like gentlemen?" And the answer to that is polo, and there's a 5-minute polo scene where they're just playing polo.
Yep.
You know how that would have paid off is if their final encounter they ride at each other.
Yeah.
Like something. But it's just a polo scene. What did that set up?
Nothing. It was, I don't know. I would have cut that scene.
Yeah. Fucking train.
Yeah, the train was pretty dope. I mean, those are all the main action beats, really.
Yeah, I think so. It's I like the horse on the train. That was amazing.
Yeah,
I thought
that was pretty good. Yeah,
it was a good bit, and then the tunnel comes, and I like that the horse got away, but I couldn't help but think about what would have happened otherwise, because it would have ruined everybody's day. Because the horse is on top of a train, and they look over, and there's a tunnel coming.
Yeah.
And the horse bangs through the top of the train and lands in the train as the tunnel goes down. If it hadn't, the horse would have
popped.
Yes, there would have been horse guts everywhere.
Horse legs flying in every direction.
Yeah. Horse guts on the train. Horse guts on Zorro. The kid would never be the same.
No.
The kid would be in the train. The horse head would slap by.
Just
smash through the windows or something.
Raining down on that kid.
Yeah.
Fucking leg bursts through a window.
Yeah. That horse exploding would have that would have been a unique movie experience. I'll tell you that much.
Oh shit. Oh man.
What a fucking movie.
I really want to see that now.
Yeah, it would be like the ending of Tremors. Like you can see the shot. Horse just explodes.
Oh my god!
With Antonio Banderas maybe still on it, or maybe he jumps down just in time.
Yeah,
and it's just like everybody on the side of the train tracks with horse guts on them.
It's like a Schwarzenegger diving away from an explosion bit, except it's just this big detonating
Exploding horse.
Yeah. A hoof sails by his cheek.
Yep. I think the comedy of Horse is that we ask so much of them, and they go everywhere head first. Like they can't stop, like they can't put up their hands, they can't flinch. There's these animals that are like I would argue a horse is very poorly designed. I know they're not, but like they have no hands. They seem very stiff,
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tip one over or something. Like they just seem uncomfortable to be horses. And we just ask so much of them.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that horse was seconds away from exploding against the side of a tunnel.
Just getting driven into a mountain at fucking 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Or however fast that train was going.
Yeah, people would have showed up later and been like, what happened here? So they would look at it and be like, I think I know exactly what happened. I just don't believe it.
Right. I think somebody rode a horse on top of this train and then it hit the side of this tunnel and just exploded.
Because that's what happens when you ride a horse on top of a train. What the fuck? What the fuck were they thinking?
It's just replaying over and over again in my mind.
Oh, yeah. It's the horse popping.
Just head first into the side of a mountain.
I was thinking side. So you see the whole profile of the horse as it explodes. Just pops.
Oh, my gosh. Man, we need this film.
Like the guts hang in the air for a second. There's a moment, and then they all rain down at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like a thunderstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
like a real tropical downpour, except it's just raining horse viscera.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I want nothing more than to see that scene in a Zorro movie. So yeah, that's all right. So that's pretty much the movie. It's it ends with him, the family getting back together.
Yeah.
They keep the secret with him. They do the thing that, again, it was in like Spider-Man and all of them, where the struggle is she doesn't want him to be Zorro. He wants to be Zorro. And then he just sort of gets his way at the end.
Yeah.
And so they have the wedding, and then you hear the bell ringing, which is the Zorro bat signal. And she's just like, go get him, Tiger, like in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But not that. And then he goes off to fuck off and be Zorro.
Yeah, man.
I would argue that they're having their wedding during the day,
mm-hmm.
and then they show the sequence of him getting dressed, and it's like sundown when he rides off, and I feel like he's going to...
Right, whatever crime was happening is long over.
Yeah, he's going to show up, and it'll just be bodies everywhere, and one guy who's like, where the fuck have you been?
Yeah.
He's like, I was getting married, man. Can't have one day off?
Just one guy there going through everybody's pockets.
Yeah. Just grabbing what he can. I don't know. This was made in 2005. I don't
mm-hmm.
know if that's around. It's the idea of the hero continuing on. Like, I would have rather him retire or something.
Yeah, there was an original ending that flashed forward many years into the future with a grown-up little boy putting on the Zorro costume and riding off.
That makes me sad. Because one of these days they're going to get murdered, right? Like it's a dangerous family business.
Yes, yeah. One of these days he's going to ride a horse into the side of a mountain.
Exactly. But I get it. Were these movies popular?
The first movie absolutely was. This one didn't make as much money, but it did make $142 million.
Right. Because I think this series deserves more credit than it gets.
Yeah, I think it's just sort of forgotten. Definitely, especially the first one. The first one is excellent.
Yeah. And this one is it's better than The Mummy Returns, I would say, in terms of
for sure, yeah.
sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, this is a good family fun. You get to see men get pulverized by rocks and explosions.
Yeah, it's great.
It's an adventure film, practical effects,
mm-hmm.
but it feels like we've forgotten about them.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. I do think the 2005 movie.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is their motivation for putting a kid in it?
I don't know. To attract kids, I guess, or just to be like a faithful sequel, I guess, because they knew the kid was there. They set the kid up in the first one.
But I do think it's to attract kids. Like, there's a Hollywood thing where they're like, we want kids.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put a kid in it.
Yeah.
That's like just how they do.
Mm-hmm.
But
which has never made any sense to me.
No, never. Because kids don't want to be kids. I didn't watch Temple of Doom and want to be I didn't want to be Short Round.
Yeah, I wanted to be Indiana
I wanted
Jones.
to be Indy. Yeah.
And like as a little kid watching this, I'd be like, I don't want to be Joaquin. I want to be Zorro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing they do. So I wonder if, but here's the other side to it is this was also made like, what did you say, 8 years later?
7
years later. So the people who were kids for the first movie aren't going to be kids for this movie. Here's the thing. They're also not going to be adults. So it's not going to be like, oh, they'll take their kids to this. And I think this is part of the problem is I think like anybody who would have had nostalgia for the first movie isn't going to be at the right age for the second movie.
No.
I do like these as adventure movies that someone was raised on. Like, I hope someone kind of was because they're, I don't know, they're fun.
Yeah, no, I think they're, like, obviously the this one is not as good, but it was still way better than I was expecting, and at least it didn't do the mid-2000s thing of dumb CGI.
Yeah, they avoided the shit out of that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a 10-year-old who saw the first one would be 17 for this one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing, I think I was still working in theaters when it came out. Maybe I wasn't. I might have quit by that point. But I remember seeing it in theaters and being like, having no allegiance or attachment to the first one and never seeing this movie. Because why would I?
Yeah.
And I don't know who would.
Yeah. I didn't go see it.
Yeah, if someone saw this when the first one where they were 10 and they were 17 and this came out, they might go see it on a weekend if they like the first movie. But I feel like at 17 years, you're still like kind of, you're not like, hey, everybody, let's go see this movie that we liked when we were kids, you know? I don't know. You're too busy like getting high and stuff at 17, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Like having sex and getting high.
I mean, I was watching movies when I was 17.
So was I, but you know what I mean? Where it's like the things I liked as a kid. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's not true. I think if you're a nerd too, I don't know. If they made an Indiana Jones when I was 17, I'd be going to see that shit immediately.
Of course.
It's a weird time for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the first movie didn't. How much did you say it made?
The first movie made like $250 million. This one made $142.
So it was never huge.
It was a reasonable hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know why they made this? Like, what was their thought?
No idea.
Yeah. So that's more or less the film. How do you think it fits into the duology?
I think if you liked the first movie, I think you'll like this one. You won't enjoy it as much, but you'll still like the second movie. So I think I don't think it's not like a Young Guns situation where it definitely suffered from being given a sequel.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't even know if, in terms of enjoyment, in terms of narrative, do you think this fits?
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I guess it's the first movie is it's like the legend continues,
mm-hmm.
and then it's way later, and I think the issue that you always run into is they have to deal with the fact that he's older, he has a kid, he has responsibility, and that seems like that should have been the film that happened as the third film. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Feels like they could have had a sequel between these two.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, the idea of him having continuing adventures work because he's a superhero, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But dealing with, you have one and then you have another, and you have them 8 years apart. And you have to think about what are you going to do with that. Antonio Banderas, he's looking good, but he's not a young man. Zorro's at a different part in his life where he might be thinking about passing the torch.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if they should have done something more like that. It sounds like you said there's an ending where they do that.
Yeah.
Then again, Anthony Hopkins is like, what is he, like 70 in that first movie?
I don't know, man.
And they just dye his hair black, and they're like, he's young.
Like, sure, man.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess you're not...
Spray some more Bronzo on him.
Yeah. I would love a version of a superhero. Have they done this? Like they must have done this. Like an old Batman where, yeah. I mean, they did this in the Batman stuff where it's like his body is just betraying him because he's basically like a boxer, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a football player. Like he can't do it for like longer than like 10 years conceivably.
Right. What I think is unfair in a lot of these movies is they make it so that Catherine Zeta-Jones is like, you have to stop. And he's like, no, I don't want to. And it's like, why don't you want to? Because I think your body would be screaming at you at this point.
Right. How many times has he jumped off like a 4-story building and landed on his horse?
Yeah. How many fucking... Yeah. Just the groin fucking damage.
It's the groin trauma. He would have popped a testicle by now.
Yeah. It's just... I don't know. I'd rather see them deal with that. With his like... You know, he takes off his shirt and he's covered in scars and it's like a nightmare under there. And yeah, he just like waddles everywhere all the time because you look in his groin, it's just like it's just blackened at this point, you know? It's just bruising.
Right.
It's like a bruised pancake down there.
It just looks like a bunch of fucking plums down there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just constantly just swollen and red and purple. And just unrecognizable. Like you wouldn't know what you were seeing. Like if you saw a close-up picture of it, you'd think it's like an underwater creature.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know.
Some sort of smushed octopus.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't know to be horrified at what you're seeing.
Not immediately. It would take a second for the terror to dawn on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you'd be like, oh my God, that man's been landing on horses groin first.
Right. So I guess if I were a big Zorro fan... and then this came out, I guess I would be satisfied, to be honest, because it's got big stunts. Like, if you're a big Zorro fan, I assume it's because you want the stunts and you don't care that much. It doesn't feel like it betrays the characters at all, but that fucking spy plot is absolutely batshit.
Yeah, that's
the part.
Yeah, I feel like they could have come up with a more organic way to have Catherine Zeta-Jones be participating in all the action. Like, that's a real strange plot.
Why not make her genuinely divorce him or something? I don't know. Or make that not a plot point. Make her just get involved.
Yeah.
Make him be like her old friend or something. And she gets involved with him socially, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like Spider-Man 3. With Harry.
Yeah.
Where it's like, where they make an omelet together and it's love at first omelet.
Yeah.
And like, that's all it takes, you know? They listen to the twist and they make an omelet and they're in love.
When he gets fucking amnesia in that movie.
He sure does. That is a terrible film.
God.
That is my fucking...
Are you
Spider-Man
kidding
theory.
me?
But you could do that with this movie. You could do like she meets a guy that she hasn't seen for a while. He starts to win her over. He might be kind of like Zorro-esque too, like he's adventurous.
Mm-hmm.
And then her relationship with Antonio Banderas is doing well. And I don't know. I guess then he's selling fucking nitroglycerin.
Yeah, and then find out he's part of like the fucking Serpent Society, and he's gonna blow up America.
Right. It's not the most creative answer, and I guess what they did was more creative, but it made less sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was that society?
I don't know, man. It was real stupid. they had their fucking G.I. Joe logo.
They really did.
That's somehow in this ancient monk's tome.
Yeah, it's like I do not believe that.
It looks like a T-shirt a 13-year-old boy would wear. It's like, what the fuck? I wanted it to have like
this? A modern gun on it or something.
Right?
It's
like the snakes coiled around an M16.
Yeah. It's like a militia logo. It was real lame. Those guys were real lame-os.
Yeah.
Like, besides the racism, which was pretty bad, they're also just lame-os.
Yeah. They're real lame wads.
Remember when that guy gets beaten in the dick and he takes his hat?
Yep.
The railroad worker who I can't imagine wants to be there.
Yeah.
It's I believe a Chinese man who is working on a railroad. So yeah, I'm guessing he's not there voluntarily. And Zorro just wails on him in the balls. And I was like, that is a man who does not deserve that. I believe that man does not deserve to be wailed on in the balls by Zorro.
Well, you don't know what he's done.
That's true. But that actor, I wanted to give props to that actor because we don't see Zorro wailing in the balls. In fact, there's no confirmation that's what happens. They sew him from the waist up. He's carrying something. You hear a noise. And his face, it's like he's being unborn. Like the agony on his face is incredible.
Yeah.
And he just falls over and I was like, did you bite his dick off?
Maybe they punched his balls off of his body.
Right.
Because there's like a definite punching sound.
Yeah. But his face is like existential. It's like Brad Pitt at the ending of Seven. Like, it's just like... Yeah. He looks so sad and haunted.
Like his soul has been torn in half.
Yeah, and then he disappears.
And Zorro stands up in his hat.
Yeah, and I was like, Zorro, I don't know if that man deserved that. He was clearly like a servant.
Right. You uppercutted him right in the cock. And he fell unconscious.
I think you could have just tapped on his shoulder and been like, I hate these guys. And he's like, me too. And then handed you the thing and left. Like, yeah, my God, Zorro. Yeah,
what if that guy just immediately set the building on fire? He's like, let's burn it all down.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, henchmen, who, they're henchmen, so whatever. We don't care what happens to them. But a lot of, like, crotch stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, there was, the hot poker. That guy is not going to be the same again. I think he dies, but if he didn't...
Well, his whole back becomes on fire in short order.
Yeah. He gets lit on fire anus first.
Right, like she stabs him in the ass with a hot poker. Yep. Like it is sticking in his ass.
Yeah, that is fucked up.
That is catastrophic damage to your body.
Yeah, that's torture. That's biblical torture.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
That's the kind of shit you do to a vampire.
Yeah, and his anus lights on fire.
Sure does.
And then the rest of his body does. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but to think he's just be begging for death that whole time.
Pleading with the angels to come take him now.
Yeah. What a weird fucking movie.
Somebody just drop some nitroglycerin on my forehead.
Yeah. Both of these movies, their deaths, the guy with the pickaxe in the first one.
Yeah.
There's something about these movies where they're like, it's like Zorro tradition now to have deaths that like will shock you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of Indiana Jones-esque in that way.
You're right, it is. They are definitely doing an Indiana Jones thing here.
Yeah, for sure.
But they don't copy it completely. They don't have treasure and stuff.
No. They had treasure in the first one, but they dropped it all on Evil Will Forte's head.
This could have been the next Indiana Jones.
Sure.
I think this deserved more films. I think it deserved at least 2 more.
They definitely should have made a sequel earlier.
Yep. And then an ending one with the kid, and then one way later involving aliens.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then, like, they talk about a 5th one, but they wait until Antonio Banderas is, like, 90.
Yeah. Fucking wrap him in a cape and just tie him to the back of that horse. We don't give a shit. Gallop his old ass out there.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think this could have been a trilogy. I'm sad this didn't...
Yeah, it's weird that it didn't.
Feels like they were trying to work on a sequel and then they didn't, and then it was 2005 and they're like, well, fuck it. Everybody's here. We're all here. Catherine Zeta-Jones went off and did Chicago and shit, and then and then she was like, all right, you have my attention. They're like, we want to do another Zorro. She's like, fine, but I get to do more. And they're like, all right. Like, I think that's what it is. Ultimately, I think it was just that this movie came out and then she kind of blew up and maybe just everybody... No, it didn't get enough in the box office for them to immediately jump on it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know either. It's man, it seemed like the first one was just like a pretty well received hit.
Yeah, maybe not well enough. I don't know.
Goddamn.
What more do they want? There's still time to make more Zorros.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to cast new people, but
nah, Antonio's looking great.
That's true. He is looking. He's
great. He's one of those guys. You know those actors where you're like, oh, they're such good-looking actors when they're young, and then they're like, you haven't seen nothing yet. I'm gonna get old, and I'm gonna look like I was carved from fucking marble. I'm gonna look amazing, and like he's one of those where it's like, oh, he like really fills into being old. I think he has a beard now. Does he have a beard?
He might. He occasionally has a beard.
Yeah, that makes sense. He could play Anthony Hopkins' character.
Sure.
We talked about that.
We did, yeah. He could absolutely do something like that.
Yeah. Let's get a new Zorro going, guys. Let's all do it. Come on, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's
make it happen.
Go. Any other thoughts on Zorro?
Man, no, not really. I really enjoyed watching these movies.
Yeah, me too.
Really enjoyed thinking about a horse exploding.
Yeah,
really enjoyed the explosion we did get, which involved a train just going fucking nuclear with a little
and then
with
also
a little Rufus Sewell dummy tied to the front of it.
Yeah, so good,
fucking good.
And then the cloud of racists.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
just fucking exploding. I like both times weird old men get blown up. They like look very curious.
Right, they like look down at what's happening.
Yeah, it's very funny, their reaction. And I guess it makes sense because the idea is nitroglycerin, no one knows what it is. So it's like it's just people who don't know they're about to be in pieces. Like they have no idea that in less than a second their arm will be, 100 yards from where their leg is.
They'll get blasted apart in multiple directions like a horse getting driven into the side of a mountain.
Exactly. That image is going to keep me warm tonight.
Just a horse bursting.
Just a bursting horse. I'm sorry to all you horse fans.
You have to admit that would be really funny.
Yeah. Well, they made it do the little wide-eyed thing, too. Like, did a close-up. The horse... All right, I have some notes about the horse. The horse drinks and smokes in this like it's a fucking cartoon character.
Sure does.
Didn't need that. Didn't need that.
Yeah, I mean, he's been Zorro's horse for 10 years. He's probably seen some shit.
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, that's probably why I wanted him to detonate more. Because he makes like a cartoony, like, woo, look. And if that had followed by the horse immediately exploding...
Just getting pile drive.
It would have been something.
Fucking head first into that tunnel ceiling.
Just splattering like flubber. It would have been something.
Man. We need to make this happen.
Ooh, we need to make... Yes, let's detonate a horse.
Somehow.
I mean, on camera, like as a goof. Like not a real horse.
No, it's a special effect, you ghouls.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to blow up a real horse.
Come on.
Unless it's already dead when we find it.
That's true.
Then it's anybody's horse.
Uh-huh. Now it's the Lord. Now it's the Lord's horse.
That's the Lord's horse. Yeah, exactly. It's the people's horse now, and the people will blow it up.
We're just returning him to the earth.
You seen that video if there was a beached whale like back in the 80s?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and they blew it up to get rid of it, and I don't know, they didn't think that one through, so just whale went everywhere.
Yeah, it was a way bigger problem than they anticipated.
I don't know why they didn't anticipate that. It's like whale blubber smashed in cars.
Yeah, it's. I think you could see it on YouTube. It's pretty incredible if you haven't seen it before.
I think that was conceived by a person who just wanted to blow up a whale, didn't care about the consequences, and told everybody, "Oh yeah, it'll be safe. It'll be safe." Because why else would you do that?
I don't know, man. If you wanted to save money.
Yeah. If anybody needs their dead horse moved, let us know.
We have some creative suggestions on how to move the dead horse.
Let me tell you guys about our Patreon.
Yeah, do that. Do it.
It's patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We have exclusive podcasts there, like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac. We have tiers where you can produce your own podcast series, like the one you are listening to now.
Indeed.
Yeah, I would tell you what next month's Duology is going to be, but I don't know.
We haven't decided yet.
Do you want to do a bad movie or do you want to do a good movie?
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll
Neither
have to
do
entertain our options. I don't know.
We'll have to look at our options. But, yeah, check out that Patreon, folks.
Yeah, we also have a store, tpublic.com/store/game3unemployed. So, yeah, you can check that out if you want to. Maybe we'll add an exploding horse shirt.
Yeah. If you have a dead horse on your hands, let us know. Don't kill a horse just to do this favor. Don't murder your prized horse because of a podcast. But if you got like a dead horse that you need detonated, let us know.
We'll blow your horse.
Duology Theater is brought to you by Gamefully Unemployed. Check out our cool shit at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed.